Hey, what's going on, guys? So my name is Ipe. I've been building a lead generation business over the last 8 years, and we also have one of the biggest coaching programs on the internet when it comes to building lead generation businesses. I know quite a lot about all the different models, all the different ways. So today I'm going to react to this video. Follow these 3 steps to start a 1 million lead generation $1 million lead generation business. I have not watched this video. I don't even know if their model is similar to ours. So yeah, let's go. Let's take a look. By the way, I do full-heartedly believe the model that we teach, which is generating leads with organic Google, by ranking organically in Google, is the best model for most people to get started with. But it's also one of the best models to scale with. So you can call me biased all you want, but I know my stuff. I've tried all the other ways to generate leads on the internet as well.
This is Neil Gupta from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. My question for you is, what are your first 3 actionable steps to creating a lead gen business, and what are the 3 industries you would go after in small communities?
Okay, we could do that. It's hard to come up with 3, but I think we can just talk about it in general.
Well, I got into this business a little bit. I was testing on a lead gen site. What I did was I emailed another lead gen site and I just said, would you buy leads from me? How much? And they said, if your leads were qualified using these parameters, we will pay you $100 per lead. It's for a trucking website that I was working on. And they said, if they are commercial driver's license folks and you are able to verify that by getting a picture of their license, we will give you $100. And so I assumed $100 was the cheapest that it would cost. And then if I also went on LinkedIn and I emailed the marketing and growth managers at the actual trucking company.
In order to be successful in lead generation, you have to understand where the buyers are going to be on the internet. Where are the buyers on the internet? And then you simply have to get in front of those buyers. Okay, so, and then you also have to understand there's a difference between, different types of traffic, different types of buyers. There's buyers that are ready to buy right now today versus buyers that are just kind of like looking around, not even that interested, right? Ideally, you want to be in front of a buyer that is ready to buy right now, ready to need your service ASAP. And that's going to be Google, right? Because most people are going to go to Google. When they need a service today, they're going to search plumbers near me, or towing companies in Dayton, or roofing companies near me. Like this is what people do on the internet, right? So that kind of already limits what kind of skills you want to master when you want to become like really good at lead generation. So at the top of Google is Google Ads is at the top, and then there's the organic rankings. Well, the Google Ads is like much easier to get your site up there, but the big downside is obviously you have to pay for the ad, and like who can afford to pay for that unless you get a client to pay for it. But then you have to depend on a client to trust you with their credit card, right? And then maybe you can charge like 15-20% fee. But the better way is to rank and build and rank your own website at the top of the Google search engine. Yes, it takes some SEO skills. There's a learning curve to it. But once you go through the learning curve, you essentially have built a piece of digital real estate that you own and control, that's generating free traffic on the internet, free leads. You can hand off free leads to business owners. Really the better way long term. Now, I'm not sure if this is what they're talking about, but that's essentially my answer to that.
And I said, how much do you guys pay? And they said $150. And that kind of gave me that range of I can acquire it for $100 to $150. And then what I did was I went and drove ads and traffic to a website that got this information, and I was able to get leads for $250. And I thought, okay, if I just fooled around and got it for $250 and they're willing to pay $150, like I think there's something there that I can actually make this.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult, right? Like AdWords is continuously going to get expensive. The price is going to fluctuate. Again, if he had SEO skills, it would have been a much better business model. But with running ads, like you're taking all the risks. You're the one that's paying for the ad, and you might make some small margin in the middle, but you're taking all the risks there.
It's profitable. That's what I did.
Because think about it. If the company could also run ads, if the company could run ads and be profitable, why would they need you? They would just be running their own ads, right?
Yeah, I think my first step would be, because I don't know a ton about lead gen, I'd be like, okay, well, who's killing it with lead gen? And so I would just, my first step would be like, find a blueprint of success. So who is a newish lead gen site? So I wouldn't be looking for one that like started in 1998 and has just been cranking since then. I'd be like, all right, what's a newish lead gen site? So something that started maybe the last 2-3 years. And I would go look at their stuff. I'd go read an article about them, and then I would contact them and be like, hey,
You would never find our sites and think that it's a lead gen site, because we make our lead gen sites appear and look like a real company, real site. So this guy would never even find us.
really interested in your business. And I'd either be like, I'm interested in buying your business. Can you tell me a little about it? Would you be open, if, at the right price, would you be open to selling your business? And they say yes or no. Or I would say, hey, I'm really trying to learn about the lead gen business for a different category. Would you, would you be down to, talk to me for 15, 20 minutes or whatever? And they might say yes, they might say no. If I wanted to make it juicier, I could say, hey, I'm doing an article on my favorite 5, truck driver lead gen businesses or truck driver recruiting businesses. I want to feature you guys. Just need to hop on a call, 30 minutes. I'll ask you a few questions and I'll use it in the article. And then in that, article, I would basically, while doing that call about the article, I would ask them how they started, how they get it, how they get the leads, what's the hardest part, blah, blah, blah. And I would try to figure out a blueprint to figure out, is this even the business I want to be in? And is there a common formula that these businesses use? Like, oh, they all use Facebook ads as their traffic source, or they all use Google keywords as their traffic source. Then they take you to a landing page with a quick email capture and then 3-question qualifier right after that. And then their business model is that they sell those leads to whoever at a certain price. And this only works if the leads are like, $100, worth $100 or more. The ones that are below that seem to struggle. And I would try to figure out how much money they make and how they do it. And that'd be my first thing, is I'd be searching for a blueprint essentially that I can remix. It's like, all right, 80% is going to be the same and 20% is going to be different. So the 20% that's different might be I'm in a different category, or I do it from a slightly different, I put a greater emphasis on copywriting or newsletters or whatever in order to generate those leads. That would be my first step.
And which industry?
So we have a couple examples here. So you did trucking on your own. Before that, you've shown me
That was not really an insightful answer. This guy, that it seems like he's never done a lead generation business ever in his life.
apartment one. What was it? Apartment
Apartment List.
What was the lead gen for?
Well,
What leads did they want?
the company that bought my company years ago was called Apartment List. Originally, they were called Vertical Brands, and they just owned lead gen sites for senior living. They owned a lead gen site for a rent-to-own housing, which was like, they bootstrapped, I think, like 6 or 7 million in revenue. Then they owned Apartment List, which eventually became the main company, but that was lead gen for apartments. And then
Lead generation is all about exposing the weakness in the marketplace of small business owners. Okay, I know that sounds kind of predatory, but check this out. So it's like, you understand that a lot of these companies, they're too busy running their own company, right, to study online marketing. Many of them never grew up with the internet. They're in their 40s and their 50s, so they don't even want to really operate on the internet. And so there's a knowledge gap in the marketplace, right? Because now every customer is on the internet, and every customer will try to find a business on the internet. So as a lead generator, all you're doing is taking advantage of that gap in that knowledge gap. So whether you pick to do lead gen for a plumber or a real estate agent or any industry, you have to then go to that industry and ask them who are their ideal customers, where do they get their customers usually, and then begin to study where do they go to on the internet to hang out, or where do they go on the internet to find that service. If it's Zillow, for example, if it's real estate, if it's Zillow, then you want to master like running ads or creating profiles on Zillow, right? If you're working with a real estate agent. If it's sneaker flipper, like you're going to generate customers on eBay, right? Like collectors hang out on eBay. But we like working with small businesses, service-based businesses, and most of their customers don't really have brand loyalty. It's not like, I need to look for a specific brand for my plumber or a roofer or what have you. These customers, they simply are going to just, for convenience sake, go to Google search and then pick one of the top companies that get listed, right? So because there's no brand loyalty, we don't have to worry about creating big old brands. We can just simply rank our own website, keep it pretty generic, and then generate that lead. We're getting in front of the customer before our client knows how to get in front of that customer, right? So this is what we're doing in lead generation. It's really like the movie, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can. Like being 2 steps ahead of the game allows you to make a lot of money in this world, especially when you understand where the money is exchanging hands between a buyer and a seller.
Owned it for cars called Autolist.com, which was acquired by Car Gurus for like $30 million. And so that was really effective. But the math is basically like how valuable of a purchase price is the product multiplied by the frequency that one person buys the product multiplied by the number of people who have that need. So for example, if it's lead gen for CEOs of like small to medium sized businesses, so it's like a job board for potential CEOs, a small business would be willing to spend like $50,000 on that. But they're only going to hire once every 8 years. So like that kind of gives you like and there's like not that many people who are into that. That kind of gives you like the math behind the opportunity. Does you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be looking for high ticket price things. So I was going to say senior living. My father-in-law does senior living. And I see that like he wants customers. A customer to him is going to pay maybe $6,000 a month for a room. So their customer, they'll last on average, 2 years at the place, right? So you're getting 24 months times $6,000. Their customers are very valuable. They're willing to give you $6,000 for for a customer if you can send them one. So their leads might be, a few $100 that they're willing to pay for if you're qualified, right? If you're in the area and whatever else. So senior living was one I was going to say. And then the other ones are like, I see this with like moving companies or construction companies or like pool construction companies. Like, oh, that's a $50,000 project to build a pool in this area. And maybe the pool construction companies are not the best at SEO like optimization. So I'm going to go after that category because I think that's one where I can beat them at their own game and sell them back those customer.
I mean, yeah, that's essentially what we do, right? Pool construction. It's like a $50,000 job, but you don't even have to necessarily go that high ticket. Like, you can make plenty of money with more medium ticket, low ticket, even if it's high volume, right?
Leads. So I would look for really high ticket price things like moving, pool construction, senior care.
Moving isn't high ticket, but
there's one more that I was thinking of. That's all right, slipped my mind, but yeah, things like that. I think those are great categories to go after.
I can't find this client info.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform, so it shares its data across every application. Every team grow better.
Can I share one that I just heard about that I actually think would be pretty valuable here? Is because it's related to what you were saying about senior care facilities. There's this new kind of facility that's coming online that's essentially like mental health triage, I think is the way to think of it, which is essentially like you walk in and there's a bunch of lazy boys and they've got TVs in front of them. And if you're having like an episode, a mental breakdown, you go in there and they might help medicate you if you need that.
See, the problem with this kind of discussion is like they don't... let's say I'm talking to the average person that wants to start making money on the internet, right? You don't want to create some fantastical idea and reinvent the wheel. You want to go after the most effective, most efficient way to create leveraged income on the internet so you can walk away from your 9-to-5 as quickly as possible. You don't have time or money to waste on certain ideas that may or may not work. You want to just model after what's been tried and true, what's been working for other people, and you want to just duplicate that success, which is what we teach, what we offer in our program. This, like senior care living, all these different things, there's a lot of variables that's unknown there that might not make it work. There's a lot of branding. There's a trust factor there that needs to be established. So the more of these ideas that aren't tried and true, the more risks that you have to incur in starting that business. So you have to be really, really careful. This is why I don't recommend people to chase businesses based on your passions, because when you're based on passions, you're more susceptible to going after businesses that's not tried and true, and there's just a lot more risks involved with it.
And they'll set you up with a therapist on this big TV and just like make sure you're okay while people figure out what's going on because mental health issues are becoming more and more prevalent. Okay, so this is like actually just coming online, and these are like a new type of care facility, and I feel like there's probably not a lot of competition yet for finding those types of leads. So there might be some opportunities to help.
What's it called? What do you even Google?
It's a good question. I know my buddy Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these people, they just don't seem like they know what they're talking about.
Is like helping build one, so he told me about it, but I don't know what you would call them.
Yeah, maybe mental health care or treatment or something like that. But like I think that the general principle is you want a high ticket buyer of your lead, so you need them to be making a ton of money off of the thing.
You generally don't want to like listen to the individuals that sound like this, that can't get down to the nitty gritty specifics. I can speak like that because I actually built a lead gen business for the last 8 years. I know what I'm talking about, but like maybe they have a software that they sell about lead generation. I don't know.
You want to have low competition if possible. The other thing is, can you use content as like your lead gen? So you're not just playing a Google keywords bidding game or a Facebook ads keyword bidding game, but like
I like this tip. So content meaning getting organic traffic. If you can get organic traffic, like you're gonna win, right? Because you're getting free traffic. That's literally the best skill set. So I think this is what he's gonna start discussing. But this is what we teach. This is what I'm a big fan of: creating great websites with great content, great backlinks, all the different things that's necessary to rank a website. Then if you're generating free traffic, no matter what industry you go into, you're going to win.
If you are educating people about something, so like, I don't know, let's call it like, what's that like surgery that a bunch of people are getting, like Brazilian booty lifts or something like that? It's like, there's some surgery, some new thing that a bunch of people are curious about, right? And the topic itself like kind of lends itself to content or ratings or reviews or like, pros and cons and stuff like that. Like, can you create YouTube or TikTok content that's just talking about, the pros, the cons, the good stories, the horror stories, the whatever else. And then basically and then you capture interested parties who are like, they were Googling to try to learn more about it. And you as the educational source become like, slightly trusted. You never need to operate the underlying business. You just sell that lead, farm them to a partner who's basically like, your vetted partner to do that procedure or do that, whatever it is in a given geography.
Yeah, that's a decent strategy. You have to become an expert in a particular niche, create content, a bunch of content around it, and then generate leads. It's more challenging to do this kind of model, just because now you're dealing with topics that got a lot more heavy competitors that are already building that kind of content, and those players, especially when you're dealing with high ticket, those players tend to have a lot more budget than a beginner. And they tend to been in the game of generating that kind of content much, much longer than you. So it's going to be case by case. But for most beginners, this kind of model is very, very difficult to pull off, which is, again, why we like local lead gen better, because you're dealing with a lot less competition.
Sick. Did we answer that, Ben? I think it's a good-ass answer.
That's it. One question Friday.
Yeah. All right. And if you want your question read live on the show, go to mfmpod.com and click on microphone. Ask us questions.
Bye.
I'm not sure what their pitch is here, but it's like they have a podcast. This is definitely not a lead generation business model that I'd recommend for a beginner. You want to do something that's much more simple, that just gets results, and it doesn't sound like the sexiest thing out there, building and ranking a website in your local city or town, or it doesn't even have to be local, but for your towing companies, plumbing companies, limousine companies. It sounds very basic, but it's very, very powerful because it's repeatable and it's scalable. Generating a lead for a special niche or offer or for a certain company, you have to be very careful of what they're talking about, because now you're suddenly going outside of local and dealing with more global competition, and it can turn into kind of like almost like affiliate marketing, where you're now dealing with really huge brands, huge blogs that are also creating content. So it can become a lot more challenging. So yeah, if you're interested, if you're just somebody that just wants to start making money on the internet, make passive income, and like quit your 9-to-5, local lead generation, what we teach, is going to be way better. So I have link in the description. We have a coaching program on it. 7,000 students, been teaching since 2014, plenty of testimonials. So yeah, check it out. And I'll see you guys on the next.